the face that runs the place.
Long live living.
Goodbye and good. Night.
How's it going, folks? Welcome to another edition of The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 Near FM on the EMC Podcast Network and on all good podcasting providers. I'm Dave Cullen, and I'm joined by the newest member of the 27 Club, Daragh Maher. Daragh, belated birthday to you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much.
How's it feel to be 27?
Knowing that my impending doom is upon me within the next 365 days.
You're overthinking it.
You know, it's kind of weird.
I'm on the same boats, especially me being a musician as well. It's like, oh god, I'm not going to die now like the rest of them, am I?
Yeah.
But I'm not that special as a musician, so it's all good. So you'll get away with it.
I think so. I hope so, Dave.
You'll be fine.
I hope so. I'm going to be living on edge until the 17th of April. 11:59 p.m. I'll be on edge until that time. And when it hits 12, then I can just breathe a sigh of relief.
Well, what'd you do for your birthday anyway?
I went and had a lot of whiskey.
Nice.
I'll be honest with you. We went to the Jameson Distillery.
I've never been there, actually.
In Smithfield. I'd never gone either. It is a fantastic place. I would recommend it so much. We went on. They have a couple of different tours.
All right.
We went on the whiskey tasting tour, where we sat in like it's kind of like a drawing room sort of place.
Yeah.
With a bar in it. And we were given 4 different types of whiskey.
Okay.
Jameson Original. Then there was one called Jameson Crested.
Nice.
There was another one called, it was Black Barrel, and can't remember the other one.
Well, could you literally taste the difference between them all?
Oh yeah, the Black Barrel was like the two of them, Black Barrel and the one I can't remember.
Right.
They actually don't sell in shops. You can only get it from that place.
That's not a bad thing. At least it's
No.
you know to go.
They go for €100 a pop as well. So I was having €100 whiskey. It was very
Nice.
I was a little light-legged leaving, I'll be honest, because you're having 4 pretty heavy whiskeys
No
in the
harm,
space
no harm.
of
It's allowed.
half an hour. But then they have a bar there as well, where you can get like whiskey sours and whiskey cocktails and stuff like that.
Nice.
Which is pretty good. So we sat there and we had a drink there too as well, and then we went and got some food. It was a good day.
Nice.
It was a very good day.
Awesome stuff. Glad you had a good time anyway. Anyway, we're coming to you live from Near FM Studios in the beautiful North Dublin village of Cook, and it's a lovely sunny day. Absolutely not a cloud in the sky coming in, isn't there?
I know, right? It's been like that for the last couple of days. It's been great.
It's typical because
And guess what?
what?
Sunday,
What?
rain.
No, but it's typical because it's exam weather. Here's me having my exams for college in 2 weeks, and it's going to be like this.
Yeah, and then in June, obviously, when the leaving cert is on, junior cert.
That's
or
it.
May, sorry, not June, May. Start of May. So we'll get a couple of good weeks there too.
Yeah, so
And then when summer comes, we'll just be going back to piss and rain.
thankfully I only have 3 exams, so it won't be so bad.
You'd be grand.
Anyway, we're here bringing you all the latest news, results, previews, rumours, and more from the world of professional wrestling. This week we're going to be giving you all the latest news from the world of pro wrestling, but here and abroad, reviewing the past week's action from OTT Contenders 8 and WWE, and we'll also be reviewing or previewing events coming up from the likes of Low Blows, PWU, and CCW. All that to come, but first we're going to start, as always, with the news.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Also, good news, everyone.
Obviously, there's one place to start, and I'm going to put the music down for this. There's only one place to start with the news this week, and that's, of course, the death of Bruno Sammartino, one of the most popular and well-known wrestlers of all time. Passed away this week, aged 82. Details are light as of this writing, but Pittsburgh local DBS affiliates said that his wife and 2 children were by his side and that he died peacefully after battling health issues in the past several months. A legendary drawing card in the Northeast United States, Sammartino first won the WWF title in May 1963 with a 48-second win over Buddy Rogers at Madison Square Garden. He would hold the title for almost 8 years before dropping the belts to Ivan Koloff in 1971. He would retain the title 2 years later for a reign that would last nearly 4 years as well. He retired in full competition in 1991 and did some broadcasting with the WWF before returning to wrestle alongside son David in the mid-80s before leaving the organisation in the late 80s. His estrangement with Vince McMahon and WWF due to the direction of the business lasted until 2013 when Paul Triple H Levesque helped broker a priest that would see him inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame. He did a few appearances with the company and even inducted old foe Larry Zbyszko to the Hall of Fame in 2015. So as legends go, you have to think, in terms of greatest wrestlers of all time, he's right up there. He's probably top 5 inside the top 3, probably not the top 3 ever.
He's probably the guy that you hear spoke of most, for anyone that obviously wasn't around when he was wrestling. You know, the longest reigning champion ever, I think 8 years was his title reign, wasn't it?
Which in today's modern era will never be beaten.
Yeah,
never
exactly.
be beaten.
Will never be.
Combines,
you're lucky to get 8 weeks with the
combines
title
2 reigns, 12 years.
Yeah,
that's unheard of. The only reign I heard, you have to go to boxing to see reigns longer than that. But in wrestling, like especially with the entertainment factor, like even though it wasn't as evident as it was back then, and that's something that I think Bruno himself didn't see much of in the business. Certainly,
that was the reason why he distanced himself, I think, from Vince, because he wasn't a fan of the entertainment aspect of it. He was a purist at heart. He just liked the pure wrestling, 2 lads just trying to get the better of each other in the ring and trying to make it play out that way instead of having gimmicks and storylines and everything behind it.
Yeah, so he embodies the side of wrestling where it's like a sport as opposed to entertainment. There's nothing wrong with that. Like there's a lot of there's factors of that in wrestling today, certainly.
Exactly.
But that's when it was only just there and then. Like so, he was like he's the idol for that. Like I be honest with you, I haven't seen the Bruno Sammartino match.
No, I can't say I have.
I've heard of many of his rivalries. Obviously, as we said, Ivan Koloff, but also with likes of Guido Monsoon, with obviously Larry Zbyszko, who was actually his student. And had a very famous cage match then in Shea Stadium, I think, in New York or something like that. So, but apparently, I read this very small documentary about him. Did you ever play the Legends of Wrestling video game?
No.
Well, there was in the second one they did small documentaries or small interviews with all the wrestlers, and one of them was Bruno Sammartino. And he talked about how I think he sold out. He headlined Madison Square Garden at least 200 times,
or 188,
something like that. So
yeah, I remember because Uncle Dave Meltzer had stuff to say about that, where I think it was only announced that Bruno had passed away, but Dave still had to get into the fact that, oh, by the way, Bruno, all that stuff that Bruno says is a myth. It's like, why'd you have to say that stuff?
It's kind of the wrong time. Like, exactly.
It's
all well and good to say it maybe a few months later, but not now. I mean, let's respect the man and his accomplishments now.
Dave, why are you trying to use a legend's death as a way of you trying to get over?
I think he's just. I'm not sure that's what he's trying to do. At least I'd like to think that's not what he's trying to do. Like, but that's not the point. This is. I know. Let's not give him the satisfaction by talking about him. Let's continue talking about Bruno. Like at the end of the day, like he is one of these guys who's paved the way, like to certainly, obviously to a degree of wrestling, which he probably doesn't like. He probably didn't like, as he said. But when you think of all-time wrestlers, like he's up there with the Ric Flairs and the Lou Fezes and the Harley Races. He's well up there for me, like, you know. So
yeah, he was, in
terms of how important he was for wrestling as well.
Exactly, he was the ones. Like, whether it's true or not that the whole Madison Square Garden selling out was false or not, but he still got the crowds in because he was a pioneer at during his time.
Of course, like when you think
wrestling, and his style has influenced so many people going forward who may have adapted the style or changed the style. Like, it's probably been changed a couple of times, but you can always probably trace it back to Bruno. Exactly.
Like, he was probably one of the biggest draws of all time as well. Like, up there with the Hulk Hogan's or the Stone Colds or even today Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey. Like, you know, so he'll be greatly missed. So obviously we in the Kick Out want to wish condolences to their family and friends at this time, and obviously pay tributes because he's one of the best of all time. No doubt about it. But we'll move on and put the music back up for this. to news concerning the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yes, the two biggest title matches at the Greatest Royal Rumble will both be rematches from WrestleMania 34. WWE confirmed last night that Shinsuke Nakamura will be challenging AJ Styles for the WWE Championship in Saudi Arabia. Styles retained in their match at WrestleMania, which was a prelude to Nakamura turning heel by low blowing him. Nakamura has gotten the better of Styles as their feud has continued since WrestleMania. He low blowed Styles again over the past 2 weeks on Smackdown, feigning that he can't speak English when asked for an explanation, but he did do a promo for the Greatest Royal Rumble match in English, just letting you know.
Typical.
In the Greatest Royal Rumble's other rematch from WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is set to defend his Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. Lesnar is returning to television next month on Monday Night Raw ahead of their steel cage match in Saudi Arabia. Here is the updated card, which will air live on the WWE Network on April 27th. Of course, you have the 50-man Greatest Royal Rumble match where they will be fighting for a trophy.
Nice.
Nothing else. A 30-man Royal Rumble, you get a WrestleMania match. 50-man Royal Rumble, here's a nice trophy.
It's better than nothing.
Universal Champion Brock Lesnar defending his title against Roman Reigns in a steel cage match, as we said. Of course, WWE Champion AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura. John Cena will be going up against Triple H.
Interesting match.
The Undertaker against Rusev in a casket match is still going ahead. It hasn't changed just yet, but there still is time. Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins defending against The Miz, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe in a ladder match. United States Champion Jeff Hardy is defending against Jinder Mahal, and of course Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are going up against the Bar of Sheamus and Cesaro for the vacant Raw Tag Team titles. SmackDown Tag Champions the Bludgeon Brothers will be defending their newly won titles against the Usos, and a Cruiserweight Championship match is yet to be announced.
Looking at some of those matches, actually, it seems obvious, especially at least by how the superstar shake-up of how some of the matches are going to go.
Yeah, kind of like the Raw Tag Team titles. You kind of know where that's going to go.
And the US title. Now, I don't know about you, but does that spoil it away a bit for you?
It does a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it is just a glorified house show.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
A lot of production behind.
When you look at the card, it's WrestleMania-esque in the terms of the matches put together. So in that
they were
sense,
giving
awesome.
like something like $20 million or something for this. That's why Vince is going all out for it, supposedly.
Yeah.
Because there's so much money put behind it.
He wants those fireworks.
Oh, he probably get all those fireworks.
So he can afford them.
Yeah.
It could probably be fireworks in the show. Like, it's in a big arena, so who knows?
I think it's an open arena as well.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
It's like in a football stadium?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's interesting matches. First of all, I have to say, I'm really confused by this whole stuff over The Undertaker and the Rusev match. Like, at first it was Jericho against... first it was Rusev and Taker.
Yeah.
And then it switched to Jericho and Taker, and had that tweet from Lana that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And now it's back to Rusev. I mean, what's going on there?
It wasn't down to the Lana tweet.
Well, obviously...
Rumors were circulating.
Well, that made us think that obviously it was changed, but obviously...
Rusev did a video on TMZ where he says he's going to beat Undertaker. And someone made up the line, or TMZ put the line in it on their headline saying, Rusev, in quotes, I'm going to beat his old ass. Which WWE thought are very protective about their older wrestlers.
Right.
And they didn't want, and if they are upset over being called old, then they'll take the person saying it out of the match. So they took him out. They then found out that Undertaker actually didn't care that he might have been called old. So then they were like, "Oh, okay, we'll put you back in the match." Then
That shows how much power, and nothing against it. Like, it shows how much power Undertaker has.
Yeah.
Like, and by and large, he deserves it. Like, you know, I heard rumors that back in the day, like any booking that he's involved in, he acknowledges it, like where it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Like, or whether he feels it or not, like, which is proper power in today's wrestling business. Like, there's probably a handful of people who get that power. Like, you know, but you have to consider there's probably years and years of leeway for it, though. All the same, the whole card looks awesome. I mean, come and check it out, though. So
it'll definitely be fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Whether or not the outcomes of certain things have been predetermined already, we don't know. Like, 50 men in a Royal Rumble. There's a few people probably going to double job that night, be on double duty.
Makes sense.
Maybe a few legends, I don't know. Maybe a few NXT people.
Who knows?
A few local guys, obviously, I'm guessing too.
There's rumors of Rey Mysterio appearing in the Rumble.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Great Khali as well, which makes sense because it's in Saudi, I suppose. But
yeah.
who else? No, they kind of ruined it with a poster or something like that, where they actually revealed all the names that were taking part in the event, and Rey Mysterio and Great Khali were there. I forget.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think someone else was there. I forget who it was though. So
he tried to get Austin to go, not to take part in the event, but just to be there. He turned it down. So
see, Stone Cold, I think, is at that point in his life now where he doesn't need wrestling. He has so much going for him right now.
Exactly.
He has his beer. He has his podcasts. He has his
he has his movie roles as well.
His movie roles. He has that TV show. Broken Skull Ranch, I think it's called.
He does, yeah.
Which is pretty good. You have to check it out. It's it's like an outdoors gladiator.
Oh, really?
It's something like that, yeah. Imagine the gladiators, but it's outdoor. You have these obstacle courses, and they're competing against each other. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, we'll move on with the news anyway. For any fans of the popular TV series The Glow, will be delighted to learn this week that the second season will be soon upon us. Netflix announced on Wednesday at a press conference in Rome that the second season will premiere at the streaming service on June 29th. The new season will compress of 10 episodes. A teaser is also set up on their YouTube page with the stars of the show lip-syncing the 80s song Maniac. The second season will deal with the local success of Glow and the fame that comes with it. The series is based on the original syndicated television show Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling that ran from 1985 to 1989. It featured women with bizarre gimmicks wrestling whilst doing other skits and singing their own entrances on a rap track. Ivory, who wrestled as Tina Ferrara in the promotion, would become the most prolific star following the promotion's demise and was recently inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Glow's first season premiered on June 27th of last year and was nominated for several awards, including a Golden Globe Best Actress nomination for the show star Alison Brie. So it's awesome. Like, no, personally, I haven't seen it yet. Everyone, especially here on Near FM, have acknowledged to me, Dave, why have you seen Glow yet? Have you seen Glow yet? Have you seen Glow yet? I actually haven't had the time yet.
Dave, why haven't you seen Glow yet?
I don't know. I'm one of these guys who it was a hard time following Netflix. What can I say?
You should sit down.
And for something like this, I should. And I heard so many good things about it.
It's fantastic. I might have to go rewatch it now before the 29th. It is so good.
Oh, I need something to do when I finish my exams, so why not?
There you go.
And there you go. I'm trying to watch Peaky.
Celebrate with a pizza, a 6-pack, and Glow.
Yeah. I'm trying to watch Peaky Blinders though, and even I'm only on one episode in that. Like, that's how bad I am.
Oh, Dave, you've got to have you've got to stop having such a strong social life. That's what it is. That's what's killing you.
I have to stop. That's like, I don't know whether to be offended or pat myself on the back with that. Either way, like, yeah, but either way,
take it whatever way you want to, sweetheart.
Fair enough. Yeah. We'll move on in the meantime. Some news concerning the Progress Super Strong Style tournaments.
Yes, Progress announced that NXT's Cassius Ohno as the latest entrance for this year's Super Strong Style 16 tournament. It will take place at Alexandra Palace in London between May 5th and 7th, and the winner, of course, receiving a future title shot. As Chris Hero, Ohno also appeared in the 2016 edition of Super Strong Style. He lost to Tommy End, of course, now Aleister Black, in the semi-finals. This won't be the first time that Ohno has wrestled in a WWE-friendly promotion since returning to NXT. He made an appearance for ICW last September and was defeated by Joe Coffey. With one more entrant still to be announced, the following are already in place for the tournaments, of course, in May. They are Pete Dunne, Keith Lee, Zack Sabre Jr., Doug Williams, Angelico, Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, Chuck Mambo, Chris Brooks, Jordan Devlin, Joey Janela, TK Cooper, David Starr, Tyler Bate, and of course Ohno. Travis Banks won the tournament in 2017 and went on to win the Progress Championship from Dunne.
That's such a good lineup for that tournament. Actually, I'm really looking forward to that now. There's a few people from here in Ireland who are going over there to check it out. Like, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Nathan and Amy and all them are going to check it out. Like, and I'm well jealous. Like, because Progress for me is one of the shows I want to definitely. That's probably in the top of the bucket list for me. To promotions to check out outside of Ireland. So probably number one. Yeah. Like, you know, like there's obviously your ICWs, but Progress, they do great shows almost all the time. Like, very consistently, and not just in London, but in like the likes of Manchester as well. So
yeah.
It's interesting because I like the fact that WWE are allowing like their stars like to still participate in indie stuff, especially Cassius Ohno, who's like,
didn't Apollo Crews, wasn't he allowed to do it as
he
well?
Was, yeah, but Cassius Ohno, you have to understand, like, certainly in his Chris Hero days, if there was like a indie Hall of Fame, he'd be it'd be a wing named after him at this stage, I think.
Yeah.
Like, because he's one of the most experienced guys out there, like, who is on, he's only, and he's still in NXT, like, he hasn't even been in the main roster in WWE, which when you think about it, is hard to believe. I think so.
I don't think so. I think
for me now, I don't know about
his
yourself.
style doesn't lend to a main roster type.
He's a wrestler's type of wrestler, I suppose.
Yeah, Vince would not like his style. I think that's why he has never gotten the call up to the main roster.
Apparently, he could have been the Shield. You know that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was either him or Roman Reigns.
Ooh. I think Chris dodged a bullet there.
Think so?
Yeah. Because he wasn't Samoan, so I don't think they wouldn't have gotten a push so much.
Think so?
Yeah.
But the thing, but this was when he was pushed to the Shield. Like they made Roman Reigns look very good, made him look strong. Like up to that point, like where, I don't know. I heard that from. Remember when CM Punk did his podcast with Colt Cabana, like shortly after he left WWE? Yeah. He talked about it then, of how he wanted these three guys, but he didn't want Hero, and he wanted Roman Reigns instead. So goes to show you. But either way, it's an exciting tournament to come for sure. We'll move on in the meantime. Speaking of Apollo Crews, we're allowed to say Apollo Crews again because he got his full name back. On Raw, the cart run of Apollo listed his full name for the first time in 2 months. His bio at WWE.com's website has also been had him back as Apollo Crews. Back in February, his name was shortened to just Apollo for reasons that were never made entirely clear. But the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported last month that internal memos within WWE indicated that the name was changed due to having a similar name to Nicholas Cruz, the shooter behind the Parkland, Florida mass shooting. So, I mean, yes and no. Like, I imagine like it would have something to do with that, but like we can never confirm, I suppose. Like, it's a strange story, but like, you know, for me it makes more sense that he's Apollo Crews. Like, so
exactly, because he's always been Apollo Crews. I didn't get the whole Apollo thing. It didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because like they were trying to do the same thing with Harper and Rowan as well, weren't they? They were just calling them Harper and Rowan.
Yeah.
Now they're being called Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, thankfully too. So I think that whole thing of just having the one name, I think, is finally.
The only other reason they change his name like that is if they called if too many people called him Apollo Creeds backstage or something like that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
No. I think they could be saying that about Xavier.
Think so?
Yeah, Austin Creed.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, but Apollo has. When you think of Apollo, you think of Creed. So.
Yeah. When you think of Creed, then yeah, it's Creed.
Yeah, but Austin Creed isn't as bad because if you say Austin straight away, you say 316 as opposed to Creed. If you think of Apollo straight away, you think of Creed straight away. You know what I'm trying to say? If you think of a first name, it follows into the most familiar thing sometimes. Does that make sense?
Okay, if you think so.
Well,
if you think so.
Alright. We'll finish off the news anyway with an interesting report concerning a bit of a weird thing that happened with WWE's Performance Center.
Yes, WWE have filed for and received an order of protection against Armando Alejandro Montalvo?
Yeah.
Is it? Montalvo?
Yeah,
we'll
Montalvo.
We'll say Montalvo. The man who was shot outside WWE Performance Center and later arrested back in August 2015, according to a report from TMZ.com. The report notes that Montalvo took to his social media page on April 4th with what was believed to be a threat against the company, leading to the WWE rushing to receive an order of protection against him. Based on his previous incidents, despite being ordered to stay away from the Performance Center, he has been seen outside a recent WWE NXT taping at Full Sail University, ranting and challenging Vince McMahon before leaving the scene in a car.
Have you ever found a more desperate man for a job in his life?
I don't think he's even looking for a job. I think he's just...
Or he's just delusional?
I think he's just delusional, yeah.
I don't know.
I would have said loco, but delusional still works too. Yeah.
It's madness though, like, you know, if he's ranting to Vince, where's my job? How come I lost? Like, I got the funny feeling he was a wrestler for them before.
I think he's just a super fan.
Are you sure?
I think he is. I don't think he's actually a wrestler.
Or a wrestler who tried out, failed, and now he's ranting to Vince of all people. Who probably has something to do with the Performance Center as well. That's all Triple H, I imagine. So
yeah, it's mostly Triple H. I wouldn't say it's all Triple H, but yeah.
But it's mostly Triple H. Like it's mainly him. Like it's mainly his thing. Like, you know, because Vince, I think, would be more concerned with the main roster show, whereas Triple H is NXT and lower, I think so.
Yeah.
So makes more sense to him. But it's madness how like even like with the stuff on like when like imagine what does he mean by a threat like to I wonder as well like did he
there was a report, I don't know if it was him, that someone was actually smearing feces over the walls outside of the performance center.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Was that why he was shot?
No, this was only recently.
Oh, okay.
This wasn't when he was shot.
That's
yeah.
weird.
I know, right?
What's the matter with him?
I don't know. Why are you trying to like smear a load of, stuff all over the wall?
Stuff.
All over the wall. It's like, I'm sorry that WWE don't do what you want them to do, but if you want to, do what we do. Set up a podcast and moan on that. It's fine.
Yeah, but he probably thinks more people will listen to him if he rants outside.
Yeah.
As opposed to podcasts.
True.
It's kind of, I don't know what else to say to this. It's such a weird story. Like, you can be creative in what he was thinking. Maybe he's like, Vince, you should book this, and if you don't book this will happen to you.
Yeah, probably.
Why'd you get people like these?
I don't know, man. But see, this is the thing. Like, any sort of big entertainment or anything like this is always going to attract the super crazy fans.
Yes.
So if you have to deal with it every now and again, I guess 1 in how many million?
See, I think it's I wouldn't say less. I wouldn't say 1 in a million. I'd say maybe.
But no,
more
this
than
is the most high profile one. So 1 in how many million that actually goes to Full Sail and does this stuff.
Yeah, it's true. No, you're right. I can't even imagine like what they could be up to and stuff like that. Like, but either way, like there's probably way more instances. But because this guy was shot, or whatever he did caused him to be shot, so that's why it's in the reports. Maybe he asked to be shot for all we know, but we don't know what the full story is. So
who would ask to be shot?
See, it wouldn't surprise me if he was that delusional.
No. Well, no one asks to be shot.
No.
Why would someone ask to be shot?
To be sued. And if he survives...
How would you sue someone
I don't know.
if you asked them to shoot you and they did that?
I'm fancy booking here, I don't know.
You're fancy booking a court case, Dave.
Literally. On that note, we'll finish up the news anyway. When we return, we will start our results of the week, starting with OTT Contenders 8.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
We're back here on the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides. Let's continue on now with our results of the week.
Oh my God! What the hell is going on? Oh my God!
We're going to start off our results this week with OTT Contenders 8, which took place at the Ringside Club last Sunday. The thing is now with the Contenders show, and we talked about this all the time, it's like, especially for anyone who's new who goes to see it, or certainly when you look at OTT's main shows, like a lot of the guys, the vast majority of the wrestlers who come in are obviously imported from wherever, UK or whatever. Mm-hmm. The thing with the Contender shows now, like, it's because the majority of it is Irish talents.
Yeah.
You see more invested in them straight away, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he kind of wants to follow them. You're more invested in them, especially with their storylines nowadays. So,
yes, I agree with that totally. It's been giving you, like, if you're sort of like, unless you're a hardcore, go watch every show sort of fan.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really know many Irish wrestlers Irish Indies wrestlers, maybe apart from Jordan and Martina.
Yeah.
Probably we did 2.
And Kings of the North probably.
That's a push. That is a push. Like, unless you go to the shows regularly, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a great, and it's just giving you an idea at the next batch that's going to come through.
Yeah, so we're in good hands for sure. I've said it all the time.
We are in fantastic hands. Like, there's so many. Like, if you look at the likes of Scotty, Nathan, Darren, Lee, all these lads, no older than 20.
don't know, we're not even 18 yet.
Yeah.
Never mind that. Like, we'll get straight to it anyway. So obviously it was the tournaments for the NWA NLW title. Sorry.
By the way.
Yeah.
Which match do you want me to watch?
Oh yeah, so this week, we're going back to what we did for the Martinez Gaff Party review, where we're going to, so because you never saw the show live, I did. I'm going to ask you to go to OTT On Demand.
Okay.
And watch the show. Right now. Okay, so I want you to check out the main events.
Okay. The main event. Okay, so I'm going to skip through to probably the last 20 minutes of it, maybe. Okay.
Something like that.
There. Oh, okay. So I see LJ in the ring. So it was originally a singles, but they turned it into a triple threat.
Indeed, yeah. Okay. So the reason it was changed, just get into it very quick at the start. The reason it changed into a triple threat match is that when LJ and Darren went up to Tony Kelly, who was put in charge by William J. Humperdinck, and Darren was trying to get a match himself because LJ had a match, Nathan had a match, but Darren didn't have a match, and they sort of teased Tony Kelly being his sister and down the whole situation that's gone over there. And in response, Darren put Darren in the match between LJ and El Dorado then, so making a triple threat for the title.
So it looks like a handicap match, really, doesn't it?
You'd think so, but it was when you watch it, you probably it won't turn into a handicap match.
Okay, I'll skip through. Okay, so Butch is just introducing there now. So
Grant.
I don't have any sound for this, so I won't miss anything if I don't have any sound, will I?
I don't. Just want look for lip syncs of Darren Carney saying "deadly."
Oh, okay. Deadly.
Okay. Anyway, so as you said, so this was the start of the tournament for the NLW title. So they had 4 quarterfinal matches. The first one was Michael May versus Doug Williams. Now this was obviously their second meeting. They had a match. I don't know if it was the last Contenders, but it was inside the last 2 shows. Fantastic match, slick and some very slick and smooth chain wrestling from the start.
I love El Ligero's ring gear, all like the Mario stuff and everything. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's class, isn't it?
Oh!
What's going on now?
They locked up and LJ is like bouncing on his back, pop up.
Bounce,
pop, bounce, pop, bounce, pop.
It's like blah, blah, blah.
And applause from Darren. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Darren wants to go. Okay. Oh, okay. Look, putting his hand out. He wants to go.
He just
El Ligero looks a little confused, I'm going to be honest with you.
Anyway, while you may acknowledge that in this match between May and Williams, May had almost an answer to almost all the counters. That's how good he's getting. Like every time he's in an arm lock, he found some sort of escape for it. Like so.
I did, yeah. Blah 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 blah. Blah.
But Doug Williams was actually very funny in this match. Like some of the exchanges, like he would like especially when they're exchanging the arm locks. I was like, oh, I give a shot. Oh, okay, that hurt. Like stuff like that. So very good technique from obviously Doug Williams.
Yeah, this was the only match that I haven't seen in the main event. I did see the rest of Contenders.
Yeah.
And yeah, just those two, just going through hold for hold. It's
that bow and arrow lock from Doug.
Oh. Man, just some of this, some of the work that these guys put in, it's like unbelievable.
In the end, it was after a number of quick roll-ups, May got the pin for the win. It was actually very similar to what's going on.
Oh, Dirty LJ.
Dirty LJ.
Dirty LJ, trying to roll up Darren.
Yeah.
What? No, it wasn't. It wasn't El Ligero. It was LJ. No.
What was ironic about May and Williams' match? Remember the match between May and Scotty Davis at Fight Factory? Very similar way of how it was won.
Yeah.
Like roll up, tighter roll up, win. So, and then May advanced to the semi-finals. The next semi-final or quarter-final, I should say, was between Terry Thatcher, who seemed to be the crowd favourite going into the whole thing, was against Eddie Stone from the Mongrels. Now Russell Dempster and Gavin Fitz came out in the match. What's going on?
They both tried to fly into El Ligero. He just turns to the side.
Oh yeah. Did Trent 7 there.
So simple.
Dempster and Fitz were barred from ringside before the match even started. They actually did nothing, but Foxy just they were surrounding the ring like Shield style, And then Foxy just said, no, not having this. 2 years gone. It's between these two. And the match started almost straight away. Like, Terry almost won the match, actually. At,
it was a class
super kick. Super kick, yeah. And he was very aggressive. Like, you can tell, like, he wanted to get the quarterfinal out of the way. And so it was smart the way he was trying to do it, or the way he was being booked. But then, and even when Stone took control, he showed awesome resilience. Like he can take a beating. Yeah. He's tough as nails.
Well, we saw that from the Jonah Rock match.
Especially, yeah, but he can take a massive beating. In the end, though, it was Terry who won by pinfall after his brace yourself neck breaker, we'll call it. But then Dempster and Fitz attacked Terry after the match then, so... The third match was Chris Ridgway, who earned his spot in the tournament by defeating El Fantasmo at Martinez Garth Party just gone. Took on Scotty Davis, who's probably, in terms of wrestling, the favourite going to this, going to the tournament in my eyes. Anyway, like when you think of the momentum of all, like in terms of all the Irish wrestlers going into it, he's one of the top seeds. You could argue. Yeah, that made sense. This was a terrific match because both of them have grappling backgrounds. So like Scotty Davis obviously has experience in Olympic wrestling, and so it was an awesome grappling match at the start. It was like a jiu-jitsu match where they're trying to work for best position and stuff like that. I love seeing stuff like that. Like it's like the Matt Riddle side of wrestling where like there's a lot more realism in the grappling, like, you know, which is nice to see sometimes.
Yeah. Go up. No, go down. Go up. Go down.
Oh, that's that one. Very clever uses of the ropes from Scotty, where I think he jumped over and then gave Ridgway a German suplex. So it was a very clever way. Nice strikes from Ridgway. He hits like Ibushi, he does.
Yes.
Like very similar roundhouse kicks. Scotty Davis's gut wrench suplexes, you see that? Very similar to Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah.
Like the way he does that and the way he picks him up like that, almost effortless as well.
Oh! Okay, I guess Laguero's out.
Some fantastic exchanges in the end, though, but it was definitely a match. This is definitely a match I would love to see again down the line. Like, if Chris Ridgway comes back to OTT, this is a match I'd love to see again between the two, Davis and Ridgway. In the end, though, it was Davis who won after his crossroads for the pinfall win. Now, probably the most anticipated...
It's a gator roll, he calls it, isn't it? It's not a crossroads.
Well, it's
similar to a crossroads.
Is that what he calls it?
Yeah, I think it's like a gator roll.
Great. We'll gator roll. Yeah. The most anticipated match of the quarterfinals was probably Curtis Murray and Nathan Martin. Nathan Martin is a psychopath.
Yeah,
he literally is. He's basically, and they reviewed this on Low Blows just recently, and I couldn't agree more. He's Nathan Martin is basically is Christian Bale from American Psycho.
I know. I heard him talk about it.
And
Patrick Bateman. Yeah.
And when you look at the comparison, it actually makes a lot of sense. He seems like a nice guy. Like, he's very happy to be there. But then when he sees something he wants or sees something that he doesn't like, he goes psycho over it. Like, you know. So he attacked Murray straight away, and it was such a fast pace. And I love the psychology, especially when they know each other so well and they teamed up before as well. But by God, like the highlight for me was when all this aggression that Nathan showed. Like, he literally had a chip on his shoulder. Like, it seems like if you look at him strange, he'll go angry at you. He's that type of guy.
Well, we've been training with him, so we can say that's 100% true.
Some very good spots in the match. In the end, though, it was Martin who won after his Destinio to qualify for the tournament. So it's set up. Scotty Davis against Nathan Martin and Terry Thatcher against Michael May in the semi-finals. Before that happens, probably it's not an OTT Contenders show anymore without the Team Tropicana.
Yes.
They took on Deputy Dunn and Los Federales Santos Jr. of the Anti-Fun Police. So obviously before the match, Tony Kelly, who's left in charge in the absence of William J., said that Tropicana must leave OTT if they lose their next two matches, because unfortunately, despite their entertainment and how over they are, they haven't won a match yet in OTT at all. So, but God, they're so entertaining. There's some intro from Jose, and then the entrance of Tropicana with the board and the blowing up donuts with chants of fun them up. And it was such a funny match. Like, the exchanges between Abe and Aiden Apex, and Santos Jr. were just
okay, lads.
you
let's
couldn't
play
breathe
nice.
at
Play
some.
nice.
You couldn't actually breathe from some stages of it, like, you know. Like when they were trying to do the lucha match and Santos couldn't jump over. Like, it's brilliant. And
then he has to just like lift the leg and then Aiden goes under it.
and he's trying to out sexy Captain Sexy by doing all the by thrusting his way forward. Like, I couldn't breathe.
Just the stuff with the glove though. Just smacking him with the glove as well.
And again, it's gone back to what we said about them before. Like they're playing to their strengths. Like, here's Captain Sexy, who's actually a very slick wrestler, and his offense is very authentic. Like, you know, like the way he does the way he uses his knees to pose and then does all the offense with his kicks is brilliant to watch. But then Aiden Apex is probably the funniest seller in. He's definitely he's one of the best sellers in the country, in my opinion, but also one of the funniest as well, because like the way he, like, how could I describe it? Like, what other wrestler could try and do a bump and make himself look good by looking bad?
I know. What was the one that he tried to do? He tried to jump off the apron and he slipped?
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you who does something very similar to that, and you wouldn't realise it. Kyle O'Reilly from NXT.
Oh, some of his selling since he got into NXT is brilliant. Nice. Someone did a compilation video of
and
it.
And when you look at it, and that's why you wouldn't think, because here's Kyle O'Reilly, who by gimmick you'd think is like a tough guy sort of wrestler. He has an MMA background and stuff, and he does all this random selling, like, and it's brilliant to watch. Like, in a weird way, I compare it to Aiden Apex, but in a strange way, you wouldn't look at Kyle O'Reilly straight away and think, oh, here's a guy who sells and makes it look so funny. But Aiden Apex, I think, is known for that here, like, if that makes sense.
Yes.
In the end, though, it was the Anti-Fun Police who won through a double team driver. And so that puts now Team Tropicana under pressure now for whoever they're against now in the next show, because they have to win.
Yes. One and more and you're done, isn't it?
So, and in typical Tropicana style, then, like, here's Josie trying to make them feel better, and they went out singing the YMCA.
Yeah.
And fair play to Captain Sexy. Actually, he can hold the tune.
Oh. Where are you going?
What's going on?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
What happens?
He just jumped off the top of. It wasn't the stage of.
It was the sound. It was the sound stage.
The sound stage.
Where Joe is.
He just. Yeah, that's
never been done before. I've never seen a spot
no,
like that.
I've never seen that part before.
First for everything, I guess.
One of the spotters there just looked like he was creamed out of it.
Oh yeah, that was.
I think
it was Fran. Yeah, it was Fran.
Oh, Fran, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I think he hit his chin off the chair or something like that from what I've seen. Anyway, now after the break, then Katie Harvey came out.
Very smooth. Oh, great core.
Addressing the situation of her being named #1 contender. Now, for those who don't know, OTT named Katie Harvey #1 contender for the women's title shortly after Defiance. She then said, though, that the attacks from Raven Creed and Sami Zayn that cost her the title at Defiance has not injured her, but as a result has not made her 100%. And so therefore then she called Valkyrie out, putting over their match at Defiance, and that was actually one of the best matches. Have you actually seen Defiance yet on OTT events? Yeah. That match, I think, was overall the best.
It was my match of the night. I agree, for sure.
Especially when you see the story that went into it, because they've known each other for years and they've been training partners and they've travelled the country together.
Oh, he's on the tree of woe. Oh, jeez. Oh, Darren, no!
What's going on?
Oh, El Ligero's on the tree of woe. LJ was up top. Darren tried to run up to the top. Looks like he slipped and he fell.
Oh yeah, seeing that. Yeah.
He looks okay though. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
He looks okay, and El Ligero saved it there by doing a pretty impressive. Like, what would you say? It's like a superplex, but he was in the tree of woe, so it's kind of like a mini superplex.
Okay. But anyway, so Katie admitted that she knew that Valkyrie kicked out because the finish of that match was obviously very controversial. Mm-hmm. And she also admitted that she had nothing left after the match, so in a way it was almost a relief for her.
Half crab.
So she therefore relinquished her title shots to Valkyrie, who will now face Sami Zayn at Scrappermania. And that's going to be a hell of a match as well.
Half crab? Yes, it will be. It's going to be fantastic.
Because we've set up
double half crab!
We've set
it's a full crab!
we've said so many times, she's probably the most underrated wrestler in the country at the moment. And so, and for her, and she won't be after that match, whether she wins or not.
No, she's getting probably the stage that she's for the work that she's put in. She's deserved.
Absolutely. So we're delighted for her here.
And that is in a card full of fantastic matches. That one could easily steal it.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah. So and I think that's gonna be a hell of a match. Now, just as they both left, Dom Tuck came out. Just before, it's going right through them and slating women's wrestling to a furious Katie. She was not happy whatsoever.
That was that part of the problem was just brilliant.
Yeah,
just brilliant. Even his saying like, "Lads, you can come out of the toilet. It's over." Oh man, genius.
Anyway, Valkyrie then answered his open challenge and then quickly beat them with Insecurity, and that was that. Like so.
Yeah.
So she's ready. Anyway, then the semi-finals then started. First semi-final was Terry Thatcher versus Michael May. Now, early in the match, it looked like Terry took a bad landing from a dive missed by May. Did you see that? Where he took the dive, where he went over the rope, and he completely missed.
But his shoulder was still at him from the first match as well.
Yeah, shades of Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah. Get out of the way of a dive.
If I see you jumping towards me,
I'll just move.
I'm going to move. Can we just get a sound clip of that and just have that? For any time there's like a stage dive that's just gone wrong.
I have to find that interview. I've actually never heard it yet. So.
Have you not?
No.
Oh.
I've heard you talk about it many times, but I haven't actually listened to it yet. But no, Terry took. Later found a weakness though. Like it looked like.
What are you doing with the title? Match is not over.
What?
What are you doing with the title? It's not over. You have to get the 3 count still. You see, you have the title in the ring.
Terry. Anyway, it looked like Michael then was beaten on Terry, but then Terry was found a weakness in May's knee as the match went on, and this was a really intense match, incredibly intense match, because it looked like Terry took another vicious amount of chops in this match, not nowhere near as bad as Jonah Rock, but not far away either. The welts in the chest appeared pretty suddenly, and Michael May can chop.
Oh yeah, you know.
But
you know,
despite my experience, you can see how hard he chops as well.
Oh, close.
Some great spots in the match. That super T-bone suplex in that match as well. Like, he almost killed Terry Thatcher from that.
Yeah.
But in the end, though, it was Terry who reversed Michael's second full Nelson suplex into a roller for the win in an excellent match. For me, that was probably both semi-final matches were awesome. I can't pick out which was the headliner, but that's a good thing when both matches deliver like that. That's all he wants there. The second semi-final in that match then was Scotty Davis versus Nathan Martin. Now, let's bear in mind both these guys are 17 years old, and they had probably one of the best matches of the night. I can't say the best match because there's been so many of them, but it was when it's worth the mention of it in an awesome card like that. What more can you say?
Oh, very smooth.
We didn't really see Psycho Martin as opposed to the last match, but I don't think we need to in this case. It was still a very competitive match. You still see the sort of drive of
what the hell was that?
Martin and that. What happens?
Darren got LJ. He put his hands through his legs, lifted him up, and somehow turned it into a suplex. It was fantastic. I have no idea how he did that. And now he gets a kick in the face for his troll too.
So the spots in this Davis versus Martin match, they had Martin crossbodying Davis from the bar onto the floor, where it looked like they were going to suplex each other off the floor at one stage.
Yeah, they had special commentary from Jordan Devlin as well at the time.
Oh, I didn't notice that actually. Yeah. Scotty's Chaos Theory and
Crab.
Super Crossroads as well. So some really excellent exchanges between the two. But in the end, it was Scotty who won the match after hitting 3 capoeira kicks and a German turned into a tiger suplex mid move for the pinfall win.
Oh,
so
he gets the pin. Oh, and he pinned Darren. Oh.
Yeah.
It was a great way actually to get him in the pin there as well.
Yeah. So that match then set up the final then, which is going to be happening at Contenders 9. It'll be Scotty Davis versus Terry Thatcher to crown the next NLW title. That match could go either way. I can't pick a winner from that because
I'm still gonna stick with my prediction with Terry Thatcher.
Okay.
I still think it's they've been doing such a great job with all the contender shows that he's been on, building him.
That's true.
As a viable champion.
In a weird way, though.
And like Scotty's time will come.
That's true. But here's the thing as well. Terry Thatcher has been booked where in such a way now where he's been getting all this momentum. Would it not be clever booking if he didn't win?
I don't know. I think they can go either way with it.
Yeah.
Preferably.
Either of them would be class champions.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't pick one right now anyway, that's for sure.
No, I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I'm gonna stick with Terry.
Alright.
They built him so much so far, so let's keep it going.
Now, let's just quickly talk about the main events after just watching it there. LJ Cleary.
Darren doesn't look happy.
So what happens? LJ Cleary, Darren Carney, and El Ligero.
Don't break up. Don't break up. Oh, don't reject the hug. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Take the hug.
Waiting for the hug.
Just go for the hug.
Waiting for the hug.
Go for the hug.
I
know you're upset, but it's a triple threat. This is what happens.
Yeah. Friends fight friends sometimes.
There we go.
There we go.
Not the best hug in the world, but
it'll do.
They'll get over it.
Yeah,
They'll get over it. They'll get over it.
So it was a triple threat match. It was originally a one-on-one match between LJ and El Ligero for the OTT Junior Neutral title. And as we mentioned, Darren was brought in the original match because of the...
El Ligero stands up and LJ is just like, no, I'm leaving. I'm not dealing with this guy anymore. Go ahead, sorry.
So obviously the spots in that match included Darren and LJ putting together deadly arm escapes at the match where they're doing bleh, bleh, bleh. And as you've probably seen as well, what started as banter between LJ and Darren eventually turned into fighting between the two.
Yeah.
Like, especially when they're trying to break up each other's pins. And here's LJ going to be like, oh, that had nothing to do with me. Like, he pretends like it didn't happen, like, so.
Actually, this is just, I'm after seeing a part here, right, that has just reminded me of one thing that I had to mention.
Alright.
El Ligero's leaving the ring and he's obviously selling the leg because he was in a half crab and stuff, so that's going to hurt. I have to make an honourable mention to Michael May's selling as well of his leg. At some points there was when he was basically dragging around, he was trying to go around the ring. And he was basically, his arms were dragging him around because his leg was so bad. And I just thought that was fantastic selling, like making you believe that the leg was that badly hurt that it was basically like a limp.
That's very underrated.
Like
that's very underrated selling when you think about it. Like in terms.
It wasn't obvious, but I just noticed it.
That's the thing. It's little things like that, like you know. So. Obviously significant spots as you've seen there, like the diving, like El Ligero's diving off the soundstage onto LJ and Darren and poor Fran. Darren getting the double half crab on both LJ and El Ligero, and LJ accidentally hitting Darren with the title belts. Yeah. But in the end, it was LJ who pinned Darren after rolling him up during Darren's half crab on El Ligero, and they eventually made up there after the match there as well. Yeah. So that was that. Like, so it's leading on to Contenders 9, and by God, there's some fantastic matches in that coming up, isn't there?
Yes. I think what was the one match that was announced that I can't wait for, it was Ospreay and Curtis Axel against Darren and Nathan.
Curtis Murray.
Why did I say Curtis Axel?
Sorry, I was watching. You're as bad as me. You're as bad as me. We're getting names mixed up.
I was watching Ride Along during the week and it was an episode with the Mr. Raj.
But no, Curtis Murray and Will Ospreay against Nathan Martin and Darren Carney. So
much.
And it goes back to, because this was ages ago. Will Ospreay, when WrestlePops happened, he promised that Curtis Murray a match because he got injured in that WrestlePops match, which Ospreay was involved in, and so it's a nice touch to go back in there, like so. And it's, again, so many good matches as well. Obviously, there's the NLW title match. There's the reunion of Jordan Devlin and Sean Guinness.
The Hangover.
Indeed.
The big hangover, wasn't it?
Indeed, it's to take on... Who are they taking on again? It's Shane Strickland and... Keith Lee. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Did you hear the story behind that, did you?
No, go. What is it?
This, why they're called the Big Hangover.
I'd love to hear this now.
It's in the store. It's in the... What's the name of it? Shoot, I'm so sorry about this.
No, grand.
The podcast, the OTT podcast.
Right.
Sorry. The episode with Darren, with Jordan, I should say, and
Jordan Martina.
And Martina.
Right.
And he says when he went over to Japan to train, he was there with Sean Guinness, and they would be the last people out of the pub when they were there, and they'd be the first ones in the dojo ready to train the next morning. So they were so surprised that they could handle their drink and be there that they called them the Big Hangovers.
It's a nice touch, actually.
Great name. I think it's a great name. Yeah.
It's a great name. So we obviously look forward to that show now. And again, kudos again to OTT for another great contender show. And as I said, like it brings so much interest as well, because it's literally the best of the best in the country at the moment.
Yeah.
Or certainly the best up and comers at the moment. And by God, they're delivering month in, month out. So
yeah,
awesome
sure.
stuff. Anyway, that's OTT Contenders.
Have you got your ticket for the next Contenders already?
Yes, I do.
Oh, do you? Oh, same. We'll go together.
Yay.
It'll be fun.
So when we return, we will continue our results of the week with the WWE, where a lot happened with the Superstar shakeup. We'll talk about that after the short break.
In the future, roving bands of comic book podcasts will savage the wasteland, once known as the Internet. One podcast, the Grolix Podcast, may not be the biggest, may not be the funniest, may not be the most well-spoken. Wait, what was my point again? Oh yes, the Grolix Podcast. Listen to it at grolixpodcast.com. That's GRAWLIX podcast.com.
We're back here on the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides. Now let's continue on our results of the week with WWE Raw.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw!
So obviously the big thing this week with WWE is the big Superstar shakeup. Like, there's so many, like, we didn't know who was going where and which and why and how, and it started with Kurt Angle obviously hyping it up and promised big surprises. Out comes Jinder Mahal, US champion, as the first man. Mahal
I've never been so happy to see someone move away from SmackDown
than Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
You
but
know,
then I got happier when I found out someone else later on was moving away from SmackDown.
Well, in a way, do you think Jinder Mahal suits Raw more than SmackDown? That makes sense.
Jinder Mahal just doesn't suit any show, to be honest.
But anyway, Mahal praised Angle for the pick, but then runs him down as he had no limo driving him over to the arena, and how Angle never agreed to it. But then Mahal says he is better than everyone on Raw and deserves the same perks as Brock Lesnar. And then Angle then very sarcastically tells him to email him his demands, and then gave him a fake email, which is very funny.
Yeah.
He then set up the match between Mahal and Jeff Hardy right there and then for the US title. And it was a very good match. Like, it's an upgrade for sure. Like, I think with Hardy, the US title.
I mentioned it while watching during the week on Twitter that like it was a good match.
Very solid
obviously
match.
We didn't know that Jeff was going to be moving over, but I thought if they were going to be doing a Jeff versus Mahal feud, it would have been better than another one with Randy Orton. So.
Yeah. So I think it saves us all the bother of trying to watch it. Trying to watch it, I'll say.
Yeah.
But again, it was a very good match. It was Jeff who countered the Colossus in the Cradle for 2. Mahal catched him with a big boot. Goodbuster followed, but Jeff counted out, hits the Twist of Fate and the Swanton for the win. And it's good now because I think in a way it's smart, I think, to move Jeff into the US title and even onto SmackDown as we see him later on. And it leaves Matt now to do his thing with Bray Wyatt. Like, so Jeff, I don't think, needs Brother Nero as opposed to Matt needing Broken Matt, if that makes sense. You could argue.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing to just separate them. Just because if you want to sort of... This is what Vince wanted from the start anyway. He wanted Jeff to become back as a single star, but he needed to bring Matt back as well.
Yeah.
So you have Matt to team with Bray Wyatt for their weird tag team, which kind of works at the moment, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
And then you have Jeff to be the single star on SmackDown, to be one of the faces of SmackDown. Everybody wins.
There you go. Mahal was angry afterwards, running down Angle for embarrassing him, and he wants to rematch Hardy at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And then No Way Jose came out dancing through. This was actually really strange because the music played on for like a full minute or something like that.
The music was so bad on this. Why did they keep the faders? Like, we obviously know because we work in radio and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, that's just bad. That's a rookie mistake.
You know what the worst part about that was? Michael Cole acknowledging it looks like he has the music in his head.
Yeah.
Don't
you heard him stop and everything and then think that because he could hear it.
Now I appreciate what Michael Cole was trying to do. He's trying to make the situation look like it's not it's not a technical fault.
Yeah, and
he's trying to make it seem like nothing's wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
fair play to Jinder as well. even though the music was so high and you couldn't hear what was going on, he still tried to go through the
dialogue,
promo. So you still have to give him credit for that.
Yeah. Like it was a technical fault, nothing more. I don't blame Michael Cole for trying to make it fix the situation, or whoever gave him that, but he didn't word it right. Simple as that.
Well, someone's just not going back to work next week.
That's it. Bayley took on Sasha Banks 1-on-1. Now this is a match that you could argue was anticipated now going into their whole feud, if you like. So, and it was back and forth like Banks talked trash, and they had a slapping contest between the two. Went crazy fist, knee strike on Banks, and then the charging knees to get going, went for two. But then Banks locked into Banks. But out came the Riot Squads to interfere and beat both Bayley and Banks down. And looks like they're on Raw. So out of the two teams, you could argue that the Riot Squads are probably a better package than Absolution were.
Yeah,
could you argue that situation?
Yeah, but it does make sense as well to move them because you have Paige now on SmackDown. Keep Absolution there close to Paige so they can still learn from her as well, and you've got the Riot Squad there who can look after themselves and just puts them on Raw. Everyone's happy, you know.
AOP took on Slater and Rhino once more. This is basically just an extended squash. Like, nothing more to say about that. The Miz TV, where Miz promised an interview as SmackDown star making the jump to Raw, ended up being Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Which you think would make no sense considering their match last week before went to a no contest. Angle then arrived and says Miz has no control and that Sami and Kevin lost the week before, but then, and I love the way that Sami did this, by the way. So Kevin,
the dad glasses and everything.
Yeah, had an email sent to him and changed the plan. Sami with glasses revealed that an email said that the Sami and Kevin match proved that they both belonged to Raw. The email was sent from Stephanie and she awarded them both contracts. Like, again, very well done. Like, just jamming it up as much as they can. Angle then reveals that Miz has been moved to SmackDown under request of Daniel Bryan, who apparently still had pull despite being no longer being GM of SmackDown. He then also said that he and Miz Taraj will make SmackDown must-see TV, but then Angle said that Dallas and Axel will be staying on Raw. Very good promo, and I think this was one of the ones that had to be happening. This one was that had to happen, the Superstar Shake-Up.
Yeah. Well, you kind of expected that one of them was going to go, whether it be Daniel or be Miz. Some people thought it'd be Daniel to Raw.
Yeah.
I was hoping that wouldn't be the case, and I'm glad it's not.
There you go. So, and anyway, later on then Sami and Kevin talked strategy, and Miz arrived and asked about how Shane would treat him, and they said they need to make their Raw final must-see TV. Later on then, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt took on the Revival. It was a good match. Like, it was what it was. It just shows like Matt and they actually seem to work well together. If it asks me, like they're combining their bits and pieces well. If you ask me,
yeah,
it was okay.
I'm not a fan of their weird finisher. To be honest,
Abigail into Twist of Fate.
No, because it wasn't. Abigail in Twist of Fate is fine.
Oh, with the legs up.
The legs up, I don't like that. I would have preferred the Abigail into the Twist of Fate. I think that would have.
Well, did Bray Wyatt keep the legs up?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, fair enough. It's a tricky one to land. All right. It could work, but it has its moments.
Yeah.
Now, Ember Moon versus. Before I mention that, actually, the Bar walked into the Fashion Police.
Yes, they did.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Like teasing them for their kilts and their jackets, their pennies jackets. Anyway, Ember Moon versus Mickie James was actually a terrific match. Actually,
it was actually one of those. Really good match.
Yeah, this is like one of these matches like could easily do well. But I think the problem with this match, and I've seen a few people criticize this, is how they split screen between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss during this match. Here's Nia Jax, who's on commentary, and Alexa Bliss, who refused to go out in commentary because Jax is a bully, and but then she's getting her rematch at Backlash. I'm like, you could do a separate segment with that. Why do you need to take away from what's an awesome match for that? Like, that's, for me, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not too sure. Maybe they just didn't expect them to have such a good match. I don't know.
It was a terrific, but still, like, knowing how good those two wrestlers are, they shouldn't. Well, yeah, especially when Moon feckin' eclipsed Mickie to death.
Yeah, the selling for that was fantastic.
It was
wasn't
something
We were
else.
talking about how good like Michael May's selling was during Contenders. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was like how The Rock used to sell stunners.
I was going to say Scott Hall sold the stunner. Like, he just jumped up in the air.
Yeah, The Rock was the best at selling stunners.
Oh, I agree. He was actually one of the best sellers ever when you think about it. So it's this guy, Dolph Ziggler, who is now on Raw as well, and talked about stealing the show and being the best ever until Titus Worldwide tried to recruit him. And he said he didn't come alone. Out came Drew McIntyre. Now, I'm happy. Now, how do you feel about Drew McIntyre being called to the main roster in this fashion?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, like
People are making the comparison that Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre are the same as when Kevin Nash was the backup to Shawn Michaels.
It's a very similar dynamic. I agree with you there.
If it's something similar to that, then I'm all good for it.
Yeah, like we'll see how it develops. Like I expect, if this is the case, then I expect big things for Dolph. Then, like this could be a way for him to get a good push. Like, you know, and give both of them the push, because that's what happens with Diesel and Shawn Michaels. Although it was originally to push Shawn, is Diesel ended up being world champion first, so or a champion first. So we'll see what happens. Anyway,
3MB back together.
Oh yeah, you know what? That easily happen.
Yep.
They're all on Raw.
Yep. how small does like Heath Slater look now compared to everyone else?
Yeah, wasn't he the biggest at the start?
Yeah, he was one of the biggest as well.
He was the biggest. Was he the biggest out of the two of them? No, the biggest build of the two of them, and now he's the smallest by a long shot.
Yeah.
Like here's McIntyre and Mahal, who are built out of stone almost now at this stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd look. Even they don't even have to get back together. Just a backstage segment will do me.
Backstage segments.
Yeah, that'll do me fine.
Yeah. Anyway, Roman Reigns came out, man bun and all. You know, I can't say anything about the man bun because I'm exactly the same. But he came out to his usual warm reaction, reminds everyone that he is here and Brock isn't, and things will be different when he fights Brock in a cage match and he become the full-time Universal Champion. Samoa Joe comes out, once again running Reigns down by not getting the job done, how he never will. Then Reigns...
Samoa Joe doing a great job of hyping a match he's not even in.
Exactly. You know,
we can't get Brock because... Did you see the leaked figures from his new contract?
I heard he's making over $1 million, over $500,000 a match.
$125,000 per TV appearance.
Oh my god.
Over $600,000 per pay-per-view match.
It's madness. That's probably half of what Vince makes a year when you think about it.
Unbelievable. But yet he still can't put any money into pyro and stuff like that.
I don't know. Anyway, so Reigns called Joe a fat ass and then challenged him to come to the ring, but then Joe backed off. Now, this got a bit of criticism as well.
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
Because Nia Jax is sort of her storyline is sort of around that.
Yeah.
And here's Roman Reigns, who they're trying to push as the main face, and he's almost doing the contrast here.
Yeah.
And especially someone like Joe, who that's his build. It is what it is.
Yeah. I'll be honest, when that happened, I wasn't like everyone else going like, "Ooh, he said fat."
Well, I didn't notice it straight away, but I'm just like, when you look at it in hindsight, it's like, well, really?
I know, I saw one of the places where people gave out about it, but I was kind of like, meh. Pretty much just like, meh.
Yeah.
The whole time too.
Natalia took on Mandy Rose. Now, obviously...
They're not trying to make, like... See, it's so hard to make someone such a clean face.
Yeah.
So,
especially nowadays.
Yeah, so it's... They're trying to skew the lines of a face, but can also have heel tendencies. Because that's what people like. So, saying, like, stuff like that is probably the stuff that... Well, stuff like that, it's be like, oh, that's the... he said that word. Oh, I kind of like him a little more because he's a little more real.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to get at.
Yeah, true. That's true. And by and large, I think it's working to a degree. But it's not gone full circle. It's not even close yet. But we'll see what... It's a progress. We'll call it that.
Yeah.
So Natalya took on Mandy Rose. Pre-match, we saw Natalya and Ronda Rousey acknowledge each other. Apparently Natalya had a lot to do with Ronda Rousey's training.
Yeah.
During the match, then Rose locked in an abdominal stretch, but Natalya escaped and locked in the sharpshooter to win. Deville attacked post-match, but Rousey made the save, and Deville tried to stand up to Rousey, but quickly got taken, beaten up, and that was that. So, the Bar then took on the Fashion Police. Breezango saw one of the Bar's coats, and Zara attacked, and then it was actually very funny how they were fighting off the sunset flip. It was like, no, it's okay. Anyway, Sheamus hit a Larry, and Demolition Decapitation gets 2. Then Fandango takes out Sheamus, and Breeze rolls up Cesaro for the win in a bit of an upset. Backstage, Elias refused to play the small town anymore. He was going to perform for Renee, but he quickly got cut off. It's kind of funny, actually. And then the main event then was a 10-man tag team match between Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Lashley, Braun Strowman, and Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode now debuting as well on Raw, taking on The Miz, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas. It was sort of ironic as well, because we knew Miz had gone to SmackDown and he still hits the it kicks.
Yeah, just going back to the Bar thing, I didn't get that booking initially that night, because I was like, why would you have the Bar lose to Breezango? I know it's their debut match.
Yeah.
But you could have just, I don't know. You could have done anything. You could have get the Bar to get a sneaky win or something like that. Because they're meant to be going for the tag titles next week. So you kind of had to build them. It was the same when they booked Apollo or Titus Worldwide to beat them twice when they were tag champions.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Boggles the mind, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, the match.
And then the second person after that match, the second person I was happy to see leave SmackDown. Baron Corbin was announced in the video package.
Yeah.
That he's going to Raw. I have no idea how he's going to do on Raw. I think he's going to get cut out.
Think so?
I think he is. I think they're building all these heels for Roman to work.
That's not a bad thing. Yeah. That's good. That's good for Baron then.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't see him getting the level of exposure that he got on SmackDown.
We'll see what happens anyway. Maybe.
So he's going to have to take his opportunities, but he didn't really take them on SmackDown. I don't know why they think he'll take it on Raw.
Maybe it could be. Sometimes a different platform could be the way to where he'd be able to find or grab onto those opportunities. So maybe it could work for him in that case.
But see, there were so many times when we were talking about SmackDown and he was involved, and we're like, he's done really well here. He's actually, maybe he's starting to turn a corner. But then the very next week he'd mess it up again.
Let's see what
I don't
happens.
think you get the opportunity to mess up again on Raw.
The 10-man tag team match ended with Miz hitting drop kicks onto Braun, but then Braun cut him off with a drop kick himself. Very impressive, actually. Then Axel and Dallas short-armed Miz and bailed on him. And then Braun finished him off with the power slam to pick up the win. Good overall main event. And again, it now splits the Miz Taraj from the Miz now, and that's him heading to SmackDown. So
yeah,
exciting times ahead. So we'll talk about everyone else. We'll talk about all the entire bunch who got switched where and where once we acknowledge SmackDown first.
On to the Rock Show, to the premier show, SmackDown.
It starts with AJ Styles arriving to a great reaction, saying that now we all know. He says we now all need to know about Nakamura now. Like, he wanted the dream match so bad, he never got it and won it, but now acknowledged that Nakamura is a con artist and he should have been celebrating. But the real dream match is against Daniel Bryan, like they faced last week. So he basically said he's not going to leave the ring until he confronts Nakamura. Nakamura may have forgotten how to speak English, which is fine, but he's here for a fight. In English, and Rusev came out, and Styles challenged Rusev to a match. So they had a match, but it only lasted literally a few seconds. Once Styles had the calf crusher, and then English came in and ruined it for the DQ. Out came Daniel Bryan, and then Paige set up Styles and Bryan against English and Rusev later on that evening. Later on, Bryan said that he helped Styles because he respects him and wants to face him when he gets back. He was one of the first people he wanted to when he came back. Out came Big Cass. making fun of Brian being short. Now, big cast. That's an interesting move for SmackDown. Like, he's a guy I think in particular needs momentum post his injury, I think.
Yeah, he needs... It's kind of funny, though, that him and Carmella are on the same show, but...
I heard about that, yeah. Yeah, but it's not a first in wrestling like it is.
It isn't the first in wrestling, but it was funny that his segment was right after Carmella's title-winning segment.
It's ironic, I suppose.
But, yeah, it's... We'll see. As long as... See, the problem is with Road Dogg looking after SmackDown, he had a hard-on for the big heels like Jinder and Baron Corbin, to the point where they were at Roman Reigns level, where they were constantly being shoved down your throat, and you resented them for it.
Yeah.
Not resent them in the way that's good for a heel, resents them in the way that's bad for the wrestler.
Yeah.
General. I'm hoping he's learned his lesson and he won't do the same with Big Cass, because the rumours are supposedly that they're going to push him so hard that they want him to actually be in the title picture. It didn't work with Baron. You can claim it worked with Jinder, but it didn't work with Jinder.
Well, what if it's a different situation? Like, it could work for Cass.
No, I don't think it will.
You think so now, but what if it does?
If it does, great. But I'm just trying to go on experience and what's happened.
See, in this case, and that's fine, but in this case, he's picking the little guy. He's being a bully, which is a good way to go.
Yes, he's being a bully. Interesting that you say that word, bully. You can't have the bully win. Not in WWE. You can't. So how is that building him?
Well,
especially against Daniel Bryan.
Well, in this case, it's a different. It's not like calling him names like Alexa was with Nia. It's just basically being a show off because of his size.
No,
it's a different. It's a different kind.
No, you still said the word bully though, and he is bullying because of his size and stuff like that.
Maybe
you can't have him win though.
It could be. I don't know. It could be because of it's a different type. It could be booked differently. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Jeff Hardy took on Shelton Benjamin. Before the match, Benjamin said that he's now all alone because Jack Cable is now moving to Raw as well. And although his Twitter praised Gable, he said his Twitter got hacked because he never needed Gable because Gable needed him, and now he needs respect and championship opportunities, and he asked for competition. Out came Randy Orton, but then Jeff Hardy came out joining SmackDown with the US Championship, which I think is good now because there's a lot of rumors going into SmackDown that Seth Rollins was going to go to SmackDown because here's thing with the US Champion, and now
they kind of
on SmackDown.
Over,
But no, I think it works. And again, it gives Jeff the singles run.
Either way, I would have been happy. Either way, if it was Jeff or Seth, both of them would have been really big pluses to SmackDown. So the fact that it's Jeff, I'm totally fine with. Same if it would have been Seth.
Yeah, it was a very good match anyway between the two. In the end, though, when Benjamin looked for his pay dirt finish, Jeff hits with a spin kick. Benjamin countered the corner drop kick, but then walks into a twist of fate, and the Swanton finished the match there. Now, The Miz didn't appear on SmackDown. Instead, he cut a selfie promo about coming back to SmackDown, and that he's not there tonight. He wasn't showing up with the others, but next week he will make his premiere. It was him with his Maurice and it's his son or a daughter? It's a daughter, isn't it?
Daughter.
Yeah. So saying, "I'll be back next week. Don't worry." Jey Uso took on Luke Harper. It was basically Jey got distracted, and then a huge lariat, and then Harper won, and then so the Bludgeons continued to bludgeon, if you like. Post match, the Bludgeons looked to kill the Usos, but Naomi came out screaming, "Please don't hurt them anymore," and then they walked away. Yeah,
Luke called it off, and they backed up, and then Luke put a thing. Did you see on his Twitter?
No.
Afterwards, he just did the tagline, "Cute AF."
Cute AF.
Cute AF. You know what AF is, don't you? You don't know what AF is? Put the elevator music on, and I'll tell you.
Oh God! Hang on a second. To be honest with you, I'm waiting for an excuse to put this on. That just
So
confuses.
then he puts the pen in the pineapple, and then he has a pineapple pen.
That confuses the bejesus out of me, man. That just makes no sense.
I don't know, but it just works. He puts the pen in the apple, and then he puts the pen in the pineapple.
I do love that song, though. It is funny as hell.
But yeah, so he did the cute AF, and then he had a picture of Naomi trying to stop her husband getting bludgeoned, you could say.
Legends, yeah. Samoa Joe made his SmackDown debut against Sin Cara.
By the way, that's a show name for the week.
What?
Put the pen in the pineapple. That's a show name. That's totally a show name.
I was thinking QAF, but fair enough.
You could do it. Both works. Both works, Dave.
QAF has a ring to it for some reason now. You never know what it means. Anyway, Samoa Joe made his SmackDown debut against Sin Cara. Sin Cara tried his best to be competitive, but Joe laid him out, ground and pound and choked him out. Basically destruction. So
it's always weird that this time of the year, the Superstar Shake-Up, the jobbers that you never see when there's actual storylines going on appear on TV.
Yeah.
Just so they can get battered by the new recruit.
Joe's probably the most surprising shake-up superstar. I didn't expect him to be on SmackDown, especially considering...
I think that's the biggest move for the whole shake-up. For sure. Joe moving over.
It sets up huge matches.
That's going to be the best thing for him.
It sets up huge matches. Like,
he can jump into the title picture, no problem.
Easily. He called SmackDown the land of handouts because everyone has had it easy until now. They all had it easy until now. Joe is here now, and he'll take all the opportunities. He'll put Bryan to sleep. He'll defang Orton, and he'll decimate AJ Styles. I love that. Yeah. Like, especially he gives them all. He acknowledges each one, especially Randy Orton. He defangs them like the snake.
Yeah.
And he also said that whatever is left of Reigns, he will put him out to pasture at Backlash. So I think he got mixed up then when he talked about Brock, saying he'll bring back his IC title and then the Universal title to SmackDown.
No, because he's in the IC title match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Also, did you see that they added another member to that IC title match?
I heard about this. You told me about Solid Fair, yeah.
Bobby Lashley.
Interesting.
Is going to be there. Now he's going to be in the ladder match. So that's interesting.
It indeed.
Yeah.
The Melibration started where Carmella celebrated her women's title victory last week, saying that everyone now wants to be on her bandwagon because she's won, and she's now the princess of SmackDown, and she's waited 287 days for the wait time to cash in. She was blinded. She said that Charlotte was blinded by her own ego, and she better learn to love it because Carmella is the woman now. And she also talked about her briefcase, and I think she had a name for. I think it was. I don't know. I forget what she called it, but now she'll have the title.
Oh, what did she call it? Was it Monique?
No. It was like it was a guy's name or something like that.
Was it? No, it wasn't.
It was. But anyway, she said she'll keep the title, which she's called Cleopatra for longer. That's funny. I actually like that she actually calls a title belt a name.
Yeah.
That for me is hilarious. Like calling the women's title Cleopatra, that works for me. Charlotte arrived saying that Charlotte knows the dirtiest player in the game and respects Charlotte's game, but she then acknowledged that it's going to be harder to stay on top than to get there. The Iconics then arrived, and they planned to run down Charlotte and blaming them on their failure, and they claim to be the future, as the future is iconic. Charlotte attacked and gets overwhelmed. Becky Lynch then arrives and makes the save. It sets up a match between Charlotte and Billie Kay. Charlotte then hits a big boot and finger four, and Kay taps out to that. Post-match, Carmella and the Iconics beat down on Charlotte and Becky Lynch until Asuka arrives, making her SmackDown debut, making the save, and
another big acquisition,
a huge acquisition, yeah. So, yeah, again, and it sets up, and then they made the comeback and clearing the win. So, by God, that's another huge. When you think of all the acquisitions, all the acquisitions that they have in the singles division in particular, both women and men.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
SmackDown is the A show again now.
It should be. Definitely now at this stage.
The A show, yeah.
A funny segment involving the New Day, who made fun of the bar middle, but R-Truth, who's now on SmackDown. Ty Dillinger then arrives and does a very elaborate handshake with Truth, and then R-Truth said, "Oh, it's great they're all together on Raw." Well, no.
Is this meant to be some sort of in thing that we should know about R-Truth and Ty Dillinger?
I don't know actually,
because I had no idea that they knew each other.
Oh, we know each other.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know. Like, are we meant to know?
I don't think so. I think it's just a side thing. Who knows? Anyway, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan took on Rusev and Aiden English in the main event. It was a pretty good match, actually. It worked well until the DQ finish, where it was a hot tag from Bryan. He connected with shotgun drop kicks, and then English made the save. Bryan dumped him and followed with yes kicks to Rusev. The knee strike followed until Nakamura arrived, and then punched Styles into you-know-what again. Then Big Kaz arrived and attacked Bryan for the DQ win. So,
you can see it happening, can't you, now, soon?
what?
A tag team match, player. With Big Cass and Shinsuke against AJ and Daniel Bryan.
Again, Renee tried to interview Nakamura, but he said he doesn't speak English. But he speaks fist.
He wants a T-shirt of that, he says.
But he speaks fist to you know what, quite well. So very briefly now, here are the acquisitions now from Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw. So from SmackDown to Raw, you have Jinder Mahal with Sunil Singh, Riot Squad, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Fashion Police, Natalia, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, The Ascension, Baron Corbin, Zack Ryder, Mike Kanellis, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, and Mojo Rawley. So it seems like Raw, they're trying to push maybe the mid-carders more, if you like. Like, I look at Chad Gable in particular.
Yeah. It's a lot of mid-card moves. I'm not too... Like, it's weird, isn't it?
Baron Corbin, another one.
Yeah.
Bobby Roode is up there with the title picture, you'd think.
Maybe the mid-card title. I wouldn't think it's the Universal title.
IC title.
Yeah.
Maybe. Going from...
the tag team division took a hit.
It did.
Did take a big hit.
It did indeed. From Raw to SmackDown, The Miz, Jeff Hardy, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Samoa Joe, Big Kaz, Asuka, The Good Brothers, The Bar, R-Truth, and it was also announced that Sanity, Eric Young, Wolf, and Killian Dean, no Nikki Cross.
Just because she's going to be in the title picture soon.
Indeed. And Andrade Almas with Zelina Vega will be joining NXT from SmackDown. Those are two huge...
They're great acquisitions.
Huge acquisitions.
The tag team division on SmackDown now is stacked.
Yeah. Like, again, Andrade Almas now added to the picture as well.
Yeah.
There's so many good matches to come out from that.
So many. I mentioned it as well on Twitter too, that the types of matches that are going to be there. Like, obviously, even the prospect of, like, Becky and Asuka fighting each other. I know that this week it's been announced that they're going to be in a tag team match.
Yeah. It's never happened before. I don't think Becky and Asuka ever faced each other, at least one-on-one anyway.
Yeah, no, they've never...
Maybe in Survivor Series, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's not one-on-one. That's a tag team match. But you've got the likes of AJ against Cien Almas. You've got Sanity against the Usos. You've got the...
Sanity against the Bludgeon Brothers, though.
Yeah, true.
Or even Sanity against the New Day.
Sanity against anyone.
Yeah.
But then also, this match hasn't been talked about much, but imagine how great it's going to be. Daniel Bryan against Cesaro.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the Bar, you're right.
Yeah. Just looking at it, though, like, okay, so, obviously, it's... The moves are predetermined and all.
Yeah.
But let's stick with this and sort of stay in kayfabe for this, okay? Mm-hmm. And just think about how bad... Tea goes in your mouth, Dave. How bad the moves were for Raw.
Say what?
How bad the moves were for Raw. Like, in terms of... Like, so... Paige and Kurt are talking. We're like, okay, so we're doing Superstar Shake-Up, so let's see who we can get, stuff like that. So Paige is just like, well, we're kind of looking for someone, maybe say Samoa Joe or something like that. And goes, oh, okay. Let me see, who do we want for a Samoa Joe? I'll give you Jinder. Done. Throw in the Singh brother. Fine, perfect, great trade. So Kurt thinks. We continue talking. So, your best tag team on there. You have the Bar there, don't you? Yeah. We'll give you the Ascension. Done. So it's still talking. So, we're looking for the Miz. Like, he's a pretty high level heel. We're gonna need one of your high level heels in return. You know that. Okay. Yeah. How about Baron Corbin? Done.
I was going to say Mojo Rawley, but that's even...
if say Kurt's job was on the line for making good trades, he'd be sacked. Well, he'd be getting chants from the crowd, getting sacked in the morning. You're getting sacked in the morning. Because he was schooled
What if?
by a 20-something-year-old first-time GM.
What if he's done it deliberately as part of a story further on with Stephanie?
Well, no, because he can't actually physically come out and say, why did you get all this crap in? Yeah. Because I'm meant to be good. It's not how you build them.
That's a funny way of looking at it. Anyway, we'll move on. Very quickly, let's talk about 205. Was it...
Now, I didn't see this this week. What is going on with Buddy Murphy?
With Buddy Murphy?
Yeah.
So apparently, I don't know why he was actually removed from the match, but by storyline,
something about he didn't
missed
make weight.
Yeah. He missed weight, and therefore he's not in the match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So they're deciding, it was announced by Drake Maverick, actually, he's going to bring that up, actually, that next week they will have a gauntlet match to decide the challenger for Cedric Alexander. Mm-hmm. So by storyline, he didn't make weight. We don't know the back dealings with it, but that's all we know at this moment in time.
It's an interesting, like, I know they were doing the thing each week where he has to make weight, and it's interesting in terms of trying to skew the line with the UFC sort of thing, trying to make weight for a fight and stuff like that. I'd say it's part of the storyline, and I'm interested to see where that goes now.
Indeed. Mustafa Ali took on Arya Daivari 1-on-1. Like, Ali back out with his WrestleMania gear. It looks awesome with that, actually. Mm-hmm. So it was a very good match. It was actually a pretty solid opener. Like, it could have gone either way, actually. Daivari had his moments in this match. Like, he hit a spine buster and then went for a frog splash as well. But in the end, though, it was Daivari who sets Ali up top, follows up, and Ali counters out of the superplex, and imploding 450 won that match. Cedric Alexander, Brian Kendrick, and Jack Gallagher returns. Mm-hmm. Where it looks like they're trying to look more into the tag team like division of the cruiserweight. It looks like it's going to be the case here. So they took on a couple of jobbers. It was Kendrick who tagged in, and then Gallagher hit the headbutt, and then Kendrick hit the captain's hook for the win. Backstage they had Drew Gulak discussing his winning over Mark Andrews last week, and he set out a warning to Tony Nese, calling him mediocre, and says he's on to bigger and better things and wants to win the next Scotland match. So it looks like it sets up a rivalry gone into the Scotland match, which is pretty cool. And then the main event was the situation between Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa. They took on Lindsay Dorado and Gran Metalik in a Tornado tag team match, meaning it's basically a tag team match except they don't tag in. It's basically a 2-on-2 match, if you like, with like no rules gone in there whatsoever. And this was madness. This was a really, really entertaining match, actually. Like, if you look at all the matches that happened this weekend, this is as good as any match this week. Like I always say, there's always one match in 205 that stands out, and this is it. Like, spots included where Tozawa hits a slam and senton covering to do, but then Itami works over Metalik on the floor, and Tozawa drops Dorado with a jab, and then again goes after Dorado's mask, which seems to be a thing for this rivalry. But then Metalik flies in with a missile drop kick to make the save. Like, there was suicide dives galore. In the end, though, it was Tozawa who accidentally took out Itami, and Dorado hit a shooting star press as Metalik hits the rope walk elbow for the win in that match. So it's pretty awesome. You must check it out, though. Like, how often are you trying to see 205 now?
It's only if I get the time free to do it.
Let's very quickly talk about NXT then before we move on. So Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae came out first. Johnny said it's good to be home, and at long last Tommaso Ciampa is behind him, and despite costing him the title and his job, but now he's overcome that and he's back where he belongs in NXT, and he thanks the fans, and then obviously put over Candice as well through all the tough months. And now that he's back, he has one more piece of unfinished business. First of all, he said that Candice LeRae will face Zelina Vega 1-on-1, but then promised once that's over and done with, he plans to go after the NXT title. So again, it sets up the show nicely, and so it's this is like this is proper post like takeover now. Mm-hmm. So where do we go from here? So it sets up what their plans are for sure. Ricochet took on Fabian Ochner 1-on-1. This is actually a pretty good match. Like, Ochner was actually looked competitive in this match. It was actually a pretty good match from him as well. Like, he has a lot of potential, Fabian Ochner. We saw him a couple of times in OTT before he went to NXT. Mm-hmm. But it was a very good match. It was typical Ricochet match, though. He finished the match with the 630, which I didn't think would be a move that WWE would allow him to do it, but he still does it.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah. There you go. Post match, he said he's watched WWE superstars make a name for himself, but now it's his turn. So proves that he'll be the one and only Ricochet. The War Raiders made their competitive debut. If you don't know who the War Raiders are, the War Machine.
Yeah, people don't like that.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Basically a glorious squash. Like, they're basically the kids of Deuce and Domino, the Metro Brothers, they're called, or something like that. So, Shayna Baszler backstage attended the meeting of the NXT women, proclaiming that this is her locker room now, and she ripped Ember Moon's name off the old locker room, and no one here can stop her, and they'll all needs to get in line. Dakota Kai walked away from this meeting, angering Baszler, so it looks like that could set up a rivalry between them two. Because there's a huge stack of women in NXT who could be next in line for Baszler, so Dakota Kai is easily one of them.
Carrie Sane.
Indeed, yeah. We got some promos from Pete Dunne and the Undisputed Era. Pete Dunne promised in a few weeks' time he'll rip off Roderick Strong's head. The Undisputed Era walked with now Roderick Strong carrying one of the tag titles. They brag they have all the golds, and they'll be in NXT next week as well. Then Lars Sullivan took on Killian Dean in a no DQ match. This was actually a really good match, very hard-hitting back and forth match. Mm-hmm. And it's a good win with Sullivan now, because here's Killian Dean now who's gone to SmackDown, so it finishes the rivalry, so to speak. So, and it looked like Dean was going for the coast to coast, but Sullivan rises, and then Sullivan connected with chair shots, and then the freak accident on the pile of chairs ended that one. And then the main event was Candice LeRae against Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, like, she can talk trash like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, she's really good at that.
Yeah.
Andrade Almas tried to distract Candice during the match, but then Johnny Gargano came out to even the score. It was LeRae who locked on the Gargano escape. Then Johnny cut off Almas and locked in his escape, and Vega tapped out. After the match, then Johnny Gargano challenged Aleister Black for the NXT title, and Aleister Black accepted. And it makes sense in a way, because Johnny Gargano is still the only man to pin Aleister Black at the moment in NXT.
So yeah, it'd be a good match. I think there's rumours as well that that Champ is going to be involved in it as well. So if it's a triple threat, I'm all for it.
Indeed. Also next week we'll see Adam Cole defend his NXT North American title for the first time against Oney Lorcan. So it should be an interesting match. Now, before we move on, outside of actual wrestling, we have to acknowledge both of us this week had the opportunity to check out the Andre the Giant documentary by HBO. Mm-hmm. Like, if you haven't seen it yet, you must see it. Like, if you're into wrestling one way or another, or have ever heard of Andre the Giant, who is one of these figures. Like, we talked about Bruno Sammartino at the start of the show, but he's one of these guys who was put wrestling on the map, mainly because of his imposing presence. Like, obviously,
he was the first sort of wrestler to be able to transition into the world of entertainment and stuff like that as well, and to be so well known
because he was so
all over the world, because he was so big and he was an
attraction.
He was, which also came at a price as well, which the documentary explores too. An unbelievable documentary where, like, I admit that I know a bit about Andre the Giant. I didn't know a lot of details about him.
I heard a few details because I a few years ago saw his a biography special. The biography channel. Yeah, they did a bit on Andre the Giant one, so I knew a bit of going into it. I knew before that Tim White or Jim White was his handler, and stuff like that. And he interviewed one of his brothers as well, who spoke French. Yeah,
and they interviewed two of his brothers. Two of his brothers.
Yeah. But
in the other one they only interviewed one.
Yeah. And obviously it talked about his huge appetite for alcohol as well, like, which is something else when you think about it. Like, especially when you look at the size of his hands.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
I think if you put two of my thumbs together, that's probably his middle finger. Yeah. So that shows how massive he was. Like, so
it's a very very hard documentary to watch at times as well.
Yeah, it was.
I got very emotional, especially towards the end. And just seeing how hard of a life he did have to lead. Just the fact that he could never get any peace, and the fact that he loved that ranch in North Carolina so much because, one, it was like his hometown in France, and two, it was in a secluded town where no one would ever bother him.
But also, it was one of those places where he because everywhere he travelled, he didn't have enough of a comfortable situation, whether he's on a plane, whether he's in a hotel room.
Exactly, because if you think of like
it was
air
very
travel,
spacious in his place.
Yeah, they mention it in terms of air travel at them. Like nowadays, you can sort of make them. You have like these bigger cars, you have these bigger planes that are suitable for like the bigger people in the world.
Yeah.
But back then he'd have 2 plane seats. He wouldn't be able to fit into the stalls where he'd have to actually pull a curtain and take a piss or whatever in a trash can, and then they throw it out afterwards. Like he couldn't fit in a car, he couldn't fit in a bed,
or barely fit in the car anyway. So
yeah, it was pretty bad. And then obviously as life went on, his bone started to deteriorate because they couldn't handle the massive weight that was coming with it as well.
Yeah, his knees were suffering.
Yeah, knees and back as well, neck too. Just had so many issues, and then obviously with all the WrestleMania 3 match with Hulk Hogan, and they talk about how they didn't know how it was going to go and how hurt he was going into it as well. The fact that he couldn't really do much. By the way, a definite highlight from the documentary was Hulk Hogan in general.
Yeah,
not just his impressions, which were fantastic.
Oh, his impressions were brilliant.
The way he told the stories and the way how he was fantastic throughout the whole documentary. I thought. Supposedly he was the same for the Ric Flair one. I haven't seen it yet, though. I've heard that if I've watched this one, I shouldn't watch the Ric Flair one because it's nowhere near as good. It's kind of a little cringy. Like I thought Ric Flair was a little bit cringy when he had those little spots on the Andre one as well.
I don't know. He's still complimenting him in the way, like so.
Yeah. I know, I just felt it was a little cringy when it was just like, what was the thing? It's like they were talking about, he was very popular with women. We didn't know if he had girlfriends or not like that. We don't know why he was so popular. And then it just cuts to Ric Flair. Well, he had a 24-inch shoe size. What do you think? And then he just gave the creepy old man look, and he was like,
yeah, but that's Ric Flair though. But that's Ric Flair.
I know.
We accept Ric Flair for being a bit creepy at this stage, especially this stage.
No. I know, but not at this stage. Like he's old. He's an old man.
Yeah, but it's within good humor, I'd like to think.
Yeah, if you think so.
That's me anyway. So, but no, it was an awesome documentary. I encourage anyone who has any access to it to go see it, because it really is. Yeah. If you're anyway, even if you don't even have to be a wrestling fan.
If you're 90 minutes, if you have 90 minutes free, and you want to sit down and watch a documentary, and even if, like the thing, like you just said, if you don't like wrestling, if you had never heard of Andre the Giant before, or maybe if you just saw pictures of Andre the Giant, I'd recommend
because
he
is popular. He is within pop culture. Like his T-shirt, his image in the T-shirt or something like that put him into that sort of bracket. Yeah. Like, so he's one of these mythical human beings, not just because of his size, but because of the character he was like. So seriously, we urge everyone to check it out. Now let's continue on with our previews of the week.
What? Look at what we have here, folks!
So we have a couple of previews to bring up. We'll just get onto them now. Obviously, happening tonight over in Cork, CCW are having their P2 pain spotting card happening at the Commons Inn Hotel in Cork. There is a ticket still available at eventbrite.ie. So here are the matches as we know them at this stage. So Rough Stuff will be taking on Flight Modes for in a CCW tag title eliminator. So the winner of that match will take on the Armstrongs at Revolution 6 happening over in the summer. The Armstrongs and Debbie Cattell will take on all 3 members of Ferret B, Billy Bedlam, Raven Creed and Gunfer Isaac. Have you seen the promo for that, by the way?
No,
it's so creepy.
Is it?
What they're doing is it's Billy and Raven talking about, we've looked into this match, and they actually look like they're stalking Debbie and the Armstrongs. It's so creepy.
Class.
There's a state of emergency address happening. State of the establishment address happening between Lee Callahan, Jack Weiss, and Lycan on the cards. And obviously, you have 4 matches to decide the contenders for a fatal 4-way that will be happening at Revolution 6 to decide the next CCW heavyweight champion. Vic Viper will take on Jussie. Lewis Garvin will take on Bruiser. In the last minute replacement, Bingo Bounds is unable to compete. Is replaced by LJ Cleary. He'll take on Danny Butler. And Ricky Combat, Joe Henry, and Sean Guinness will face each other in a triple threat match to decide the challenger for that. So some pretty cool matches coming up tonight in CCW. Now, happening next week, obviously our friends from Lobo's Wrestling Parties will be having their party for the first time in McGowan's in Phibsborough. Well, they'll be showing the WWE Greatest Raw Rumble on Friday, April 27th. There's still tickets available on eventbrite.ie, free for Low Blows Network subscribers. The show starts at 5 p.m, entertainment until 11 p.m. McGowan still opens till late. So any regulars of Low Blows, it's in a different venue, which apparently McGowan's is almost like a spiritual home for Rick Nash. So because apparently that's where he hangs out most weekends, I think. So
why do you stalk? Do you stalk him?
No. I'm just saying he acknowledges it on the show.
Sorry.
Just because I bring up a fraction that actually stalk people, you don't think I do it as well? What's wrong with you? CCW also have a show coming up next weekend as well. Limerick City Strong Style happening on Saturday, April 28th at the Limerick Strand Hotel. There's still tickets available on eventbrite.ie. Steve Savage is set to appear on that, among other CCW stars for that as well. And also on Sunday 29th of April at the S13 in Queen's Road, Belfast, will be PW Junction 8, Know Your Enemy. Tickets are available on tickettailor.com. Matches announced include Rocky Star to take on Katie Harvey 1-on-1 in an intergender match. Apparently there's a lot of back and forth between those two, so that's actually an awesome match. Tim Steed to take on CTB the Third for the PWU title. Rhea O'Reilly, Lucha DS and Charlie Sterling all making their PWU debuts. In fact, it was announced actually during the week that Rhea O'Reilly, Lauren LaRue, Debbie Cattell and I think Valkyrie will be a fatal 4-way for the women's title, I think. So
did you see the promo that
for Debbie?
Yes, that was good, but also the promo for the tag title match?
No.
Oh
yes, I did.
Yes.
Where it's going to be Team New School against Darren Carney and Justy.
Yeah, that it was brilliant.
So you need a tag team partner.
Let's have a chat.
Tucker, Nathan Martin and Luther Valentine are also set to appear on that card as well. So that's all the reviews or previews of the week. Now let's finish off our show as usual with our yes nos.
Yes, no! Yes, no! Yes, no!
There isn't too many to bring up now, so I'll just get through them very quickly. Paul Heyman to possibly manage Ronda Rousey in the future. Now it seems like Paul Heyman has said that if Brock Lesnar goes, he'll go. But will he really?
Yeah.
Who said someone else can be a next Paul Heyman guy or girl?
I say yes because I like to see it. It
would be awesome, actually. I don't think Ronda needs it personally.
I don't think so, but it couldn't.
It couldn't hurt her either.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt her.
MVP to return to WWE.
Sure, he'll probably show up at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Why not?
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's a good point. Never thought about him showing up there. No, apparently he wants a return, but wanting and getting it is two different things. Now, Paul Ellering, who we've noticed now is no longer managing AOP, apparently he's gone due to unwillingness to work the main roster schedule.
He said that wasn't the case. He put out a tweet to say no. I have no idea why. Why he's not doing it. Maybe they just feel it's a better direction for AOP to go if they're by themselves.
Maybe.
Instead. Which could be the right option. Might not be, but we'll find out.
Finally, Rey Mysterio to appear at the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Seems set in stone. He's on the poster and everything. So
as long as he's fit from his was a bicep injury, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I imagine he's okay from it now, but it was only a small injury as well, so we have to see what happens. So there you go. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this week on The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 in your FM, on EMC Podcast Network, and on all good podcasting providers. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Wrestling, on Twitter at The Kickout Live, our Instagram at The Kickout Wrestling, my Twitter at Dave Bandana, and Darah's at
Mars Bar.
So now we're heading into Greatest Royal Rumble, so it'll be interesting. So we're almost like having a second WrestleMania, or a second WrestleMania card with a Royal Rumble match.
Pretty much, yeah.
In Saudi. So
I wonder what the fans will be like. I know it'll be mostly you'll see mostly actually I'm not going to say because I'll probably get in trouble for it, so it doesn't matter.
Mostly what?
I'm not going to say. I'll get in trouble.
Oh, you're tempted.
I'm not. I'll say it to you off air.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it's going to be it'll be a different crowd, but we'll see how it responds anyway. So all the same, we'll be back next week to talk about that, amongst other things from the world of pro wrestling. But until then, I've been Dave Cullen. He's been Daragh Maher. This has been The Kickout. Thank you so much for listening.